What's going on, everybody? So we're going to talk a little bit about recovery and how to maximize recovery post those big foundational workouts. So off the bat, what would equate a big foundational workout? Well, if you look at your typical weekly workout split, let's just say you have 4 big foundational workouts, which would be traditionally programmed like a upper lower split or push-pull legs, something of that nature, or either 3 full bodies, and then maybe like a body part specific, like a glute day, for example. So those could be like your 4 foundational days, but typically you're going to look at 2 upper, 2 lower. That'd be a fantastic way of doing a 4-day split. So those would be your foundational workouts within the week because they're going to be your harder workouts. So how I define foundational is you're going to have more of a game plan. It's going to be heavier loads. It's going to be more of your complex multi-joint movements that are performed on those days. So there's going to be a greater central nervous system activation. You should be pushing your body closer to fatigue and really putting some extra stress and demand on your body within those foundational workouts. So the rest of the week, you can break that down into trigger sessions. You can put that into focus sessions where you kind of highlight isolation movements. Perhaps you're doing some conditioning, you're doing some aerobic work, you're doing some anaerobic conditioning. Lots of different opportunity, right? Some people like to play sports, some people like to do yoga, some people like to go for hikes. Recovery in between those big foundational workouts, critical in terms of your development and how well your body develops and how fast it develops and how strong you are and how your performance is going to increase in the gym at your next foundational workout with the proper structure behind those recovery days. So for me, I love going to the gym. I love training. I love exercising. I love being active. So it's not a chore for me. So it's usually a chore to stay out of the gym. So I need to find ways to manipulate my psychology into thinking, hey, I can't hammer my body every single day because I'm not going to grow at that point. I'm just going to be in a constant state of recovery. And obviously I'm looking for adaptation. I'm looking for bigger, stronger muscles. I'm looking to become faster, be more durable, more resilient, fitter, more conditioned, those sorts of things. So now it's a lot easier for me to understand that. So it's not hard to pull myself out of those hard training cycles and that mindset. And I really look forward to the days to recover optimally so I can go back into my foundational workouts and have a great workout, feel good, feel fully recovered, and really maximize the session. So what do I do in between those foundational workouts? Because I just did a video on a split routine that I'm doing right now. And I do a 4-day foundational workout split, upper lower. And within obviously that other 3 days, I'm still looking to exercising in my body to increase its work capacity, but most importantly to recover. But how I recover is probably counterintuitive to how most people are recovering. And I've learned this from other fitness professionals and trial and error, and obviously the things that I do, taking on these record first strength endurance projects that put my body under a very high degree of demand and stress. I need to keep my body moving, and ironically I found keeping my body moving was one of the best ways to promote optimal recovery. So that's the key that I really implement in terms of faster recovery and being more in tune and alignment for my foundational workouts is what I do on my recovery days in terms of movement and circulation and blood flow. So I like to do things that still push my body a little bit, but I keep it at very low intensity. So low intensity is the key within your recovery days. You don't want to push your body. You don't want to really drive your body to an intense demands or close to fatigue. You're looking to get it a little bit of a signal, send a little bit of a stimulation, and do something just to kind of create blood flow and maybe get a little bit more higher volume work. But again, we're staying away from failure, and that's a great way to recover. So I love doing things, whether it's some hill sprints, but maybe dialed back at a 70 to 80% intensity, maybe getting close to 90% near my last couple sets. But the volume isn't overly demanding. I can do things like strongman endurance, so carries and sleds are absolute necessities in my routine. They became huge aspects of what I do for my recovery days just to build work capacity over COVID, where I wasn't able to go to the gym as often. So I ended up buying a sled, had opportunities to obviously do carries with different things, And that became a massive part of my routine and a huge part of my recovery sessions and recovery days, i.e. growth days. So today, for example, was one of those recovery days, one of those growth days. So I went to the gym, I was training a client, a fighter buddy of mine, getting him ready for a fight in May. And so it allows me to kind of play around with a few movements and just, focus on movement rather than an actual training session. So I was doing things like sled work. I was doing a couple extra accessory movements, a couple pull-ups here and there, very low intensity, probably like at 40% of what I could do in terms of volume, total volume, and doing a few kind of movements just to kind of stretch out the lats and whatnot. And then I did some core strengthening where I just did some isometric holds, so very low demand. We're not taking in, putting the eccentric portion and contraction into the movement with that one, and just kind of working on core engagement. So let's just say the sleds and the Zercher holds were the main aspects of that training session. Then earlier I was with a client, we're out in Bronte Conservation, and we did some hill work today. So I did a couple sets of hill runs, 25 to 35 seconds, and made sure I had ample amount of recovery between those sets. And that was my recovery day. So my body's going to feel great going into a foundational leg day, lower day tomorrow, because I didn't throw a whole bunch onto the system, but I really gave it enough of a stimulation to, like I talked about, increase blood flow, increase circulation, help shuttle out some of the nutrients that need to be shuttled out, right? Some of the waste products, and it helps speed up recovery. Research is pretty extensive on that aspect of how to promote fast recovery, and movement is now the go-to approach, right? It's not resting the body fully, it's not even flexibility and mobility. Those things help, they have their place, but it is movement. It's making sure you're getting your 10,000 steps, your 8,000 steps, whatever you kind of have your goal set at. 8,000 should probably be the minimum. Obviously I'm going on a pretty long streak of my 10,000 plus. But it allows me to get outside, and it rebalances my hormones just from being outside. So if you have the opportunity on these recovery days, get outside, get in nature, do something outside of four walls. Another really big piece to optimal recovery as well, I think, just getting natural sunlight and fresh air in the body, and giving your body a chance to defocus, right? And ironically refocus your body and mind. So it's one of those things that really helps me. I haven't been injured, knock on wood, my whole athletic career, doing a lot of crazy stuff. I recover really well. I have a great work capacity. I maximize my foundational workouts, and I'm able to push heavy weight and really add a decent amount of stress and demand on my body. And lastly, I listen to my body. If today my body was absolute trash for whatever reason, I probably would have not done the hill sprints, even if it was low volume and low intensity, or I might have reduced a few things I did in the gym. I probably still would have done sled work, because sled work, you can really manipulate it. You could do a sled work with a bare sled, or you could do it meaning no weight on the sled, or you could do it with a plate or 2 plates. I worked up to 2 plates a day for like 30 yards, a cut down and back on a turf. So again, not very demanding when you can load that thing for 6 or 8 plates, if you really think about it. So it's such a good way to throw more into the mix. But like I was mentioning, if I really felt taxed, I would have just reduced the volume a little more and went even lower intensity. And a lot of the times my recovery is my aerobic work. So if I'm looking to get in a few extra miles throughout the week, I'll do my low intensity steady state cardio, so my LISS, LISS, and that's when I'll keep the heart rate low. I'll keep it in a zone 2, training demand, so somewhere between, for myself at 32 years old, around 130 beats per minute, conversational pace, and that's a good opportunity for me to build up my cardiovascular system, improve my oxidative system, and be able to actually get more work in a given week. And it allows me to get outside, clear my mind, and that's probably the biggest thing that I love about exercise and training, is the opportunity it allows me to reset and get outside and get away from the day, and just mentally is very fulfilling for me. And it allows me to become more creative, more productive, more engaged after the fact. So absolutely love that aspect. Hence why I always want to make sure I'm moving my body, staying active and doing something. And the byproduct byproduct of it all is I'm actually recovering faster, increasing my work capacity so I can handle more demand in the gym during my foundational workouts in the week, and I'm getting the maximal amount of growth I can get out of those sessions because I'm complementing it with really good recovery practices. I'm not overly stressing it with more high intensity workouts or more high stress workouts. I'm thinking through that process logically. So if you do get a hunkering for more work and you want to put in more workouts, remember you have foundational workouts in your week, maybe 3-day full body, maybe a 4-day split. Other days, complement those foundational workouts intelligently. If you don't know how to do that, I gave you a few really good tools right there, right? Sled work, anything general physical preparedness, isolation work, band work, hikes, walks, low intensity steady-state cardio. If you're really conditioned, you can actually throw in some anaerobic conditioning as well, depending on how, like I said, conditioned and fit your body is. So a lot of different opportunities, but that's the best way to recover your body, and it's the recovery practice you're probably not doing, right? We're probably been told to take it easy, and we're resting, and we're doing our flexibility, and a lot of people get into this trap where they're told to not do anything, and they don't do anything, and they come back sore or sorer than they could have been or should be because they listen to antiquated advice and research that is somewhat out of date and isn't helping their process of seeing more growth in the gym and a speedier recovery. All right, guys, hope this helped. Leave some comments below on what your favorite practices are, maybe in the past, and maybe how you're going to switch that up now, and some good value that you got out of this video. Like always, be sure to subscribe down below, hit the little bell button for notifications, and comment, stay engaged. We'll see you in the next video.